side.
Yes.
Actually, it isn't the brighter side because uh, Dungeons and Dragons, unfortunately, is an enormous bomb, arguably bigger than Shazam 2.
Yeah. Um,
So that let's talk about the other ones first.
yeah.
As far as other things that are coming out, we had a little bit of interesting. We're seeing a lot more Christian movies, not only just coming in, but also placing decently well in the box office. Because we've got His Only
Yeah.
Son debuting at number 3, which is basically the story of Abraham and being told to sacrifice his son and the drama around that.
Ah. Okay.
I
Hmm.
don't know how good it is, but it's interesting that it's up there.
Yeah. It did what, 5.5 million in about 2,000 screens. That's
Yeah, like not huge, but
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's Easter Sunday or Easter season. Yeah.
right. This of course being last week, but
Hmm.
it um, rounding out the top 5. We got John Wick had a pretty good hold. 62% drop, which something that I realized on watching a Valiant Renegade thing is that part of why you see such big drops isn't necessarily because you have fewer people going to a movie. Or like, this doesn't mean 62% fewer people went to that movie. It means they probably lost a lot of their IMAX and premium large format screens
Yeah.
going week to week.
Hmm.
Because Dungeons and Dragons would come in and snap up a few of those.
Yeah.
So that's going to inflate some of those drops. Because a ticket sold in a regular theater is significantly less than a ticket sold in IMAX.
Right. Yeah.
But John Wick holding in there. Um, rest of the top 10, we finally don't have Avatar or Puss in Boots in the top 10.
Well.
Um, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania made 1 million, so it's.
Ooh.
Although I think the biggest loser of the year so far in terms of budget to performance, it has to be 65, considering that
Hmm.
it's taken a month to make less than Dungeons and Dragons or Shazam made in a week,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is a shame because the world needs more movies about dinosaurs and the world needs more unique properties.
Yeah. Well. The world needs more good movies about dinosaurs.
True, true. Right. I made that monkey's paw wish mistake. I wished for more movies about dinosaurs, and we've
Yeah.
had 3 Jurassic World movies and now 65.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, it does not look like Ant-Man is likely to catch up with Puss in Boots.
Oh.
Now, to be
Ooh.
fair, we don't know how long Ant-Man is going to stay in theaters, but Puss in Boots is at 480 million. It's basically done making money.
Yeah.
Ant-Man is at 467 million. Um, but yeah, it's been 2 months since Ant-Man came out, just about.
Wow. Yeah, that's about right. It was
It's
late
really
February.
flown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's dropping theaters. So who knows? It might be able to leg its way out over Puss in Boots, but it shouldn't be that close.
Yeah.
Especially because in that movie lost exclusivity in the theaters on like day 17 after
Ooh.
that snowstorm hurt it. Snowstorm hurt it. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good result for Puss in Boots.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course with Ant-Man and Ant-Man Quantumania, that's going to be dropping on Disney Plus pretty soon.
Yeah. Shazam is doing better than Shazam Fury of the Gods by quite a bit. It's unfortunately word of mouth has not been good on that one.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, and I think what's killed the movie is the fact that I mean James Gunn's already been brought in, and he's already said he's rebooting the franchise, and it's
Yep.
basically everything that happened in this movie is meaningless.
What they really should have said was uh, the role of the existing cast going forward. Uh, depends on audience reaction
Hmm.
because that might have incentivized some of the Snyder bots to go see this thing.
Yeah, yeah,
But unfortunately, it is what it is.
yeah.
Speaking of things that is what it was, but it shouldn't have been if they hadn't said stupid things.
Yeah.
So Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. I just if you're watching the this section of the replay, I just talked about how this was a fun movie. I really enjoyed myself. This is
Mhm.
also one that they really ramped up to be big. I actually took a look at Barnes and Noble just to see. "Oh, I wonder if they have a release date for the disc yet. I might like to own this. And they had a bunch of novelizations. They had prequel novelizations. They had novelizations of the movie. They had novelizations for like middle grade readers. They had novelizations for the youngest of kid readers.
Uh,
So it's like they had a lot of they had a lot riding on this movie.
yeah.
Um, Unfortunately, it had a $150 million production budget versus a worldwide opening weekend of 37.5 million.
Ouch.
Um, so now I've heard some people claim that they haven't seen a lot of ads for it. I don't know if I believe that because I've been seeing a decent amount of advertising and promotions for it. Like they
Yeah.
had a some sort of deal with Xbox that I keep seeing when I look at my Xbox rewards app, where like you could enter to win some sort of prize, like a I don't know if it was a custom Honor Among Thieves Xbox or if it was like a PC or something,
Mm.
but let's pull out our third host here, the calculator. Hey, calculator. Hey,
Hey.
hey. Hey. All right, so 150 million. Let's be if we assume 100 million in advertising, we have to double that because they get roughly half of the box office. Yeah, this movie is not hitting 500 million.
No.
With Super Mario Brothers and a bunch of other summer releases on the horizon, it might be lucky to hit 200 million.
Yeah. And some of some of that can be attributed to the fact that like Dungeons and Dragons is a very niche franchise, very niche property, and it not everybody played Dungeons and Dragons, not everybody knows a whole lot about it, and and again, going referencing your review of it, like when you were going through like, oh, this character is this character is that, or whatever. There a lot of normies are going to be like, I don't care.
Right. I mean, I think you could appreciate it outside of that level. Just having that extra bit of insight was like an extra spice to the thing.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, a lot of people don't play Dungeons and Dragons. It's hit a high level of popularity during the pandemic just
Mhm.
because it was a thing people could do over Zoom or Skype or Discord or whatever to have
Right.
some social interaction.
Right. Yeah, and you had a lot of you had like the what was the podcast
Critical Role.
Critical Role, yeah, and Stranger Things bringing
Hmm.
it back, yeah. So
Yep. But so let's talk. Those were reasons why it should have done all right.
mhm,
Let's talk about the various ways, like the various self-inflicted wounds.
yeah,
First off, the 2000s Dungeons and Dragons movie.
yeah, yeah,
Anybody who remembers that might think this is a sequel to that.
right, yeah, and yeah, and they certainly wouldn't want to see a sequel to that movie.
No.
Yeah,
Um, uh, Now, as far as the other self-inflicted wounds, we talked earlier this year how Wizards of the Coast attempted to introduce an onerous licensing thing that would see them clawing revenue away from people who were using their secondary license, and
right,
just how badly that backfired
yeah, yeah.
this week. And they keep making. I can't. I hate the word woke because nobody ever defines what it means by it. So let me define my definition of woke. It, it is it is an over concern with various demographics and politics.
I would say that's a good definition. Yeah.
Like you can have a story that has progressive messaging in it ultimately,
Mhm.
because that can be satisfying. Star Wars has progressive messaging, for example, in the sense
Yeah.
that it's about a band of rebels toppling an unjust government.
Right. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that characters introduce themselves along with their personal pronouns or whatever. S-
Yeah.
So, like, what has Dungeons and Dragons been doing lately? Well, they've gotten away from racial bonuses because that's racist.
Yeah, yeah. Ninja Toe says it here. Yeah, they just
Yes,
announced removing half orcs and half elves.
and that announcement came out during the movie's, not it was after the first weekend, but during the movie's release. So they keep doing things that would irritate the core fan base. And I'm going to say this slowly. So there is one species of humans these days, Homo sapiens. Somebody from North America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and Australia are all still Homo sapiens sapiens. Possibly, I forget there's a subspecies. That's right. There is a subspecies thing because I think some people define Neanderthals as Homo sapiens neanderthalis because they were close enough.
Okay.
But that's like academics. So
Hmm.
all Homo sapiens. Dungeons and Dragons is an alternate world wherein there are different subspecies of humanoid beings,
Hmm.
possibly different species, but they are fertile with each other and can produce half breeds. These half breeds have different characteristics, much the same way that a horse and a mule or a horse and a donkey produce a mule.
Hmm.
In so much as, in so much as uh, this is a role-playing game wherein it is designed to be like an alternate reality, and you get to play a role that is not yourself in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an acceptable break with reality because it helps give you some flavor to work with.
Yes. 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 Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, and it's just yeah, and to get away to lose that is just like okay, well, you're diluting it, you know.
Right? Like part of the fun of Dungeons and Dragons is that you can be a half elven archer, and that opens up opportunities. Like maybe you go to the elven village and they don't think much of you because of your heritage, or humans look at you askew.
Yeah.
It
Hmm.
is a chance to explore topics of racism if you want to,
Yes. Yes.
or you could ignore it and just want the racial bonuses.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. There's a lot you can do with it. Yeah. And obviously, Wizards of the Coast just doesn't get that.
that they are trying to appeal to a new audience who probably pirated a PDF of the book, rather than the
Yeah.
core fan base who has been buying modules for years and likes the game as it is. Darn it!
Yeah.
Now, that's one of the self-inflicted things. Like just like the last year, they've just been destroying their relationship with the core fan base with that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Which the core fan base, that would be people who would go, "Oh, hey, new Dungeons and Dragons movie. I'm going to drag my girlfriend or my parents or my
Hmm.
what I'm gonna hey RPG group, let's go and watch that movie together opening weekend on play night instead of having play night."
Yeah, and they could still even cosplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So but no, so you've been slowly whittling away the goodwill of your core base. The
Mm-hmm.
second problem is you played into anti-woke YouTube because the writers, who I think actually wrote a good story,
Mm-hmm.
like I said in my review, uh, they said, "Oh yeah, we were very excited. It's like we were excited about emasculating the male characters." There is a word that you should have used: humble. Humble the main characters.
Oh God.
There's so I said in my review, I was putting a pin in it that this movie is not woke. Here
Yeah.
are the things that you could call woke in this movie. Christopher Pine's daughter is mixed race, not like mixed fantasy race. Like his wife was black, and so she's mixed race that way.
Okay.
I personally am not enough of a racist to see a mixed race child as a sign of woke, but your mileage may
Yeah.
vary.
Yeah. I don't either. Yeah.
Two, the barbarian lady is kind of a masculine character, being a kick-ass barbarian,
Yeah.
and her ex is introduced, and it is Bradley Cooper CGI'd to be a halfling, aka Hobbit with the serial numbers shorn, scraped off, and he is portrayed as being a house husband, basically.
Yeah. You could do a lot with that, you know.
And part of the humor of it, and this is one joke I will spoil,
Yeah.
is that she comes in and he has found another 6 foot tall barbarian lady to shack up with because he clearly has a type. And that is why that is funny juxtaposition and not woke.
Yeah. uh,
Like she shows
yeah.
up trying to rekindle that connection, and this tall, red-headed, muscle-bound woman comes in. It's like, oh, you must be someone. Well, you must be Olga.
Yeah.
I'll leave you two alone for a minute.
Yeah.
So this movie is not woke, but because you use the word emasculate, you
Yeah.
uh, you managed to make yourself some nice anti-marketing there.
Yeah. Yeah. And in I don't know like what the strategy there was there with that. It was it like kind of like doing a little, like you say, anti-marketing where like, oh, get people to go out and hate watch it, or was it just like, I hate to say it was kind of like, like that South Park when Cartman buys an amusement park and he's advertising like, yeah, I got an amusement park and you can't come in. Like,
Yeah, like I don't know who they were trying to appeal to, but they clearly didn't show up in enough numbers to make this movie financially viable.
yeah, yeah,
Now, Ninja Toe said something a bit ago. I think Dungeons and Dragons could become popular when it hits the home media market. I think this is one that's probably going to be a cult hit at some point. Uh, uh,
yeah. I think so too. I mean, if it's as enjoyable, well, I trust your opinion. Um, that it's a good movie, and if it is, then yeah, it could very easily get to cult status. Yeah,
yeah, it's just unfortunate that that everything around the movie hurt the movie.
yeah.
So that's my mini rant there. So basically, I guess my takeaway is go see the movie. It isn't woke. If anybody says it is woke, I just said the two things you can really hang your hat on for the movie possibly being woke, and you sound ridiculous if you really run with those.
Yeah, yeah. And Ninja Toe says most likely trying to get in the good graces of critics. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, this movie did review well, both with fans who actually bothered to see it and with critics. So
Yeah,
yeah, Ninja, you'll have a good time.
yeah, yeah. I might watch it at some point. I don't know if I'll go see it in the theater. I might.
I mean, it's Paramount, so it'll probably come to Paramount Plus at some point, or they
Yeah,
might sell it to Netflix. I could see
yeah, yeah,
Netflix being interested in getting the rights to this just because yeah, they do have that Stranger Things audience who they got hooked on D&D. So
yeah, yeah. I could see them doing that. Yeah, who knows? I may even buy it on whatever 4K or digital.
yeah, so it's a sad tragedy of it's kind of like John Carter of Mars, where
Hmm.
it's just was made for too much compared to what the audience was. Except I feel like the audience that would have there was an audience that would have loved this that was turned off by Wizards of the Coast being dumb for years on end, uh, and the and fuel was added to that fire by a single comment by the writers.
Yeah, yeah. It's unfortunate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, and before, so, some people might go, well, it's been kind of a slow season for movies anyway. Nobody's really making money. Let's talk about our next topic.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting to have. Oh, by the way, quick thing.
Oh yeah.
No changes in the Washington homes. The whale is still on top of it, on the crest of its wave,
Yes. Mhm.
but nothing really too interesting to talk about here.
Yeah.